Sup, y'all? Welcome back to an active bomb zone. I'm your host, an actual squirrel. Whoa, another podcast. Here we go. Welcome back to the Big Fish Podcast. 24 episodes of the Big Fish Podcast. The Big 24, baby. What can you do at 24? Rent a sports car, maybe? The podcast can finally rent a sports car, guys. But speaking of sports cars, my guest today has the vocal comparison of a new Ferrari starting his engine. He's stylized, he's eloquent, and he is the man with the longest death grips video on the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, please get on your feet for Raul, known as Regal State. What's up?
Hello. How is everyone doing? All good? Jake, how are you?
Burrs, we're chilling. We're maxing relaxing. I just zoom in here from work, and I'm ready to have a freaking podcast, man.
Yeah? All right, let's get to it.
How was your day? Were you vibing?
Yeah, day was all good. It's quite hot in the UK at the minute, but we deal with it much worse than people in America do. Let's just put it that way.
It's hot here too. Isn't that like fucking weird? Like, I'm sick of it getting like hot and cold all at once. I just wanted to keep one temperature because like I wake up in the morning, I have to wear a sweatshirt, but then it comes the afternoon, I'm sweating. I'm getting tired of it, man. I'm sick of it.
I'll tell you something funny. My car has no air conditioning in it. So
Ooh.
when I bought it, it basically, its air conditioning unit was basically faulty. And I didn't realize that because it was my first car, right? I didn't tested it, etc. They regassed it, but there's definitely a leak in some sort of in some compartment or some area in that car. We've regassed it, we've checked the leaks. It hasn't shown up anything, but it's just a mystical car. Oh. So in the end, that mystical car has resulted in me losing I don't know how many gallons of water over the years.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's disgusting. No, especially when it's like it's pretty much almost summertime. We're recording this like mid-June. It's pretty much summer already. Fuck that.
I mean, it's only bearable if the windows are down.
That's true.
It's only bearable if the windows are down. It doesn't work, of course, if you're on a highway, right? For example, because then the speed is too high for the wind coming inside the car.
Like, something about some pressure, some shit where it just goes past it without going in.
Yeah.
I'm no rocket scientist.
I'm no. Yeah, like, I live in London for anyone who's listening. So, London is actually quite big, contrary to what people think. There's no real reason to need to drive a car here. But there is a pretty good reason if you're not going into like the very center of it, right? So in that sense, most of my journeys take place within London, but not beyond it. So I don't need to go on a highway, for example, right? So it's optimal for now. But the second I go on one journey, and you know what? Actually, speaking of long journeys and heat and cars, the thing that overheats the first on a long car journey that's hot, right? Mm-hmm. It's the iPhone. It's the iPhone that's running the Google Maps. That thing overheats like it's no business. It does. If it's 20 degrees and sunny, it will overheat. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's stupid. And the last thing you want to do is be paying attention to directions and it says phone temperature needs to cool down.
That shit, I never understood that shit when phones were saying like, oh, it's too hot, you can't use it. Put it away for a little bit. Like what? Like
right.
That still doesn't make any sense to me.
It's like so you're telling me this phone can't operate in 20-degree weather, but you still sell it in Saudi Arabia where it's 50 degrees Celsius?
That is very true.
It boggles my mind. The UK is very mild in terms of temperature. So are you telling me everyone in Arizona has malfunctioning
Probably,
iPhones?
Yeah, at this point. They always keep around they have a little like cooler with them that they have like drinks and stuff. They have an ice just for their iPhone when it gets too hot. They put
right,
so it doesn't explode or anything like.
So they've got ice cubes in the car just for the phone.
Yeah, that's what it's for, just in case we have some explosive phone. Is explosive phones? Is that the Samsung thing or is that just? Did Apple also explode?
I mean, listen. In terms of electronics and defects, like we went through 360 having its yellow light.
Oh yeah,
right. Or was that the PS3? No, the Xbox. The 360 was the red ring.
Red ring of death, baby. Yeah.
And then the PS3 was the yellow light. I had a PS3 that yellow lighted.
Yeah, I have an Xbox that red ring of death that everyone really knows about.
Yeah, I mean consumer electronics and malfunctioning, it's silly, and especially it is dangerous. Like if you're waiting to make a turn and the phone suddenly says overheating and you're already en route to making that turn, it's dangerous. It can legit cost lives. So I seriously it needs to be looked at.
Yeah, especially if it's your job too, because I know a lot of people like yourself, like your job is editing. Well, not your job, but people edit YouTube videos, and like if Adobe just decides to crash all of a sudden, you're like, oh, there goes my work.
Let's not get started with Adobe. If
that is the most fascinating thing, like the monopoly that they hold.
I don't understand. I actually don't understand.
Yeah, I don't think I ever will.
Adobe has been selling Photoshop, After Effects, whatever, that whole suite for over 2 decades now, and you're telling me they haven't managed to fix stability?
No.
I don't know. Either it's running on an extremely old code base that they haven't managed to update, or you're telling me the engineers that they paid $300K a year for in San Francisco aren't doing anything useful. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's a real shame.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
It comes with it.
It's like you buy Ferrari, it's going to be fast. You buy Adobe products,
it's going to be
shit. Crash.
Yeah. Well, speaking of editing videos and stuff like that, the reason you're here currently on this podcast because you're a bit of a YouTube man, right? So I've heard.
So you've heard. So people have said. So people have said, yes.
So describe for those who do not know, who are you and what do you do? Quite the Nardwuar intro.
Right, so shout out Nardwuar.
Shout out Nardwuar, love them.
His Isaiah Rashad episode was sensational. Isaiah was legit one of the most genuine reactions I've seen. So anyways, for people who don't know who I am and what Regal State is essentially a video essay channel, right, specializing on musicians. We primarily focus on hip-hop musicians, but we've delved into R&B musicians, and alternative musicians. So we've got an episode on Radiohead. So what is it exactly that we do, you say? So what we do is we focus on concept and themes. That's our primary aim. We focus on the concept and the themes surrounding these musicians and their projects, right? So we don't particularly focus on making the most sensational animations or other snazzy visuals, but we do focus on content and we do focus on detail. So if you click on a Regal State video, and if you watch it right to the end, my aim is for you to have learned at least something that you didn't already know about that musician or that project. That's Regal State, really. And any video Regal State, I'd say, yeah.
Now, something that you're kind of being a bit faux pas about, your videos are very long and very in-depth, like way longer than the average, essay video channel, which is something that really struck out to me when I discovered you, because I discovered you from your Money Store video, which is over an hour long. The time code on YouTube is 1 hour 50 minutes and 9 seconds.
Right.
Oh my god.
Right. So let me also take some time to mention something very important. Regal State is not just made up of me. It's made up of a couple of very, very talented writers. Some who don't write for me anymore, but still would like to give a shout out to. So we originally had a guy called the Gravelstone, who'd helped write some episodes, and he was sensational. We've got Ryan Fair, who is, another genius when it comes to writing. We've got Mike Ackelson, who is, again, a dear friend of mine in New York, I believe. We've got the very legendary Jacob Ross, who was responsible for that Death Grips video you mentioned, as well. So shout out Jacob. So all of these guys, the Gravelstone, Ryan, Mike, Jacob, these guys, without them, this channel wouldn't be where it is. And I'd like to give a shout out to each of them because they are the writers that I discuss topics with. They are the writers that I go back and forth with, disagree, agree, and say, okay, I'd rather change this point or that point, or I think this would come off better that way. We don't have too many disagreements because over time we've built relationships whereby I understand what they're trying to say and they know the direction that I would like that video to head in. So there's not many changes nowadays. But yeah, just would like to take the time to say, look, making videos of this length is not a one-man effort. It takes a fair amount of people to do so, even if it's more than one, right? And they're made with love. They really are. So if you see a long video made by us, don't be put off. My recommendation has always been treat these longer videos as podcast episodes. Like, treat it like it's a Joe Rogan episode, right? To be honest, a lot of our episodes are not really that long. I'd say on average nowadays, they're around 10 to 20 minutes in length. The Death Grips videos are sort of exceptional because it's an ongoing series we've got going, which aims to really deep dive into each of their projects. So I guess even if you watch a video and you think, 10 to 20 minutes is too long for you, or these Death Grips videos are too long for you, put it on in the background, and go to work or chill, or go on Reddit and just leave it on in the background. I think they work great as podcast episodes, and a lot of these longer videos are videos I wish other people did. I wish more people made videos on the money store, for example, because there is a lot to be said, clearly.
Yeah.
and so I feel like we're just taking it step by step with these longer videos. We're just doing what other people haven't done and we haven't seen done. Yeah.
You said that you have it's not run by multiple people, but it's a collaborative effort. When you compared to a solo venture, what do you find are the pros and cons when running a YouTube channel with other creators?
The pros, I would say, are, well, they mainly stem from one main pro, which is perspective, right? I can sit there and come up with an idea, right, or a thought process about a musician, yeah? And I'll sit there and say, okay, I would like to write this about this musician. I don't know whether it's the best or what other things I could write. I've come up with my perspective, right? When you introduce other people into that mix, what happens is there's a conversation that begins, right? A conversation begins about whether that set of ideas or that idea is suitable, right? There's a justification process that goes on within that sort of conversation, which aims to, make the best video possible. Yeah, and if you're, for reference, I've made about, I'd say, over 50 of the videos you see on the channel. So right now we're about, I think, episode 93, 94, around there. So I've made around 50 of those episodes, and I made it myself. Yeah, and I'm not saying that they're worse than the ones made with writers and other people, but they definitely would have had a more varied perspective had I had someone else to, review what I've said.
Yeah.
I think one great thing is conversation, and the two aims that I'd like people to have from watching my videos is A, learn something new, that you didn't know before, and B, hopefully start a conversation, whether that's with me in the comments or with someone else. Start a conversation, right? Make it something that doesn't have to stop when the video stops. Yeah. And it's not about that having to go anywhere. It's just something. It's just thought provoking. My aim is to make something thought provoking that makes you think after it's finished. Like a good movie ending, right? When a movie ends,
like the movie ends in the theater, you walk out thinking about it, like, huh.
Yeah, and not the type of movie where it's terrible, right? You're like, I wasted my money. You don't want to have that sort of lingering thoughts, right? I'm talking about, the classic one is Inception, right?
Yes.
Where you've got the spinning top at the end, but spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it. But the point being is, you want that ending in a movie as such to question what you've just seen, right? You want it to make you sort of realize, oh, this is the journey I've been on and this is what it's led to, right? And it's the same sort of thing with the videos. I think in terms of cons, going back to your question on what are the cons of having multiple people, I think probably the only con is time frame. Yeah, because the more people there is in anything, the longer it theoretically takes, rather than a one-man show.
Yeah.
I could theoretically write a script and be done with it in a day. That's not going to happen with other people. It's going to take some time. Yeah, so it's just the way it is. But that's not a bad thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We don't release videos every day. We release videos when we feel the video is suitable to be released, and we've made mistakes in the past with spelling and pronunciation and other things, right? So we're not perfect, but we don't try and rush things most of the time anyway. Yeah.
So when you're creating a video and that stuff, when do you, since there's so many people, when do you finally put the stamp on and be like, yeah, this is done, this is ready for us to show the public?
Right, so the writing team don't all work together as such. They're just individual writers, if that makes sense. So certain episodes will be written by certain people. I think when is it ready was your question,
Yeah.
right? When would it be ready? It's ready when I feel like I've watched it and the message is clear. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I feel like I can watch it and learn something new, and it makes me walk away thinking, wow, I would like to revisit that, piece of music or that project or that musician even, then I've succeeded. If it works for myself, I'll do it. It's not often that, the script turns out to be this. It's not often, that the script leads to a video that needs to be rewritten. It's often the case where the script is something that's refined over time if needed, right? Rarely, not often.
Yeah.
And that nips any problems in the bud right there and then. So the video generally smooth sailing from there onwards, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a little bit about like feedback and stuff like that, and a legendarily notorious video is your Kenny Beats apology video. For anyone who doesn't really know the ins and outs of that story, could you give us a brief overview? Because when I found out about this from our talk, I was looking more into it, and I just found it fascinating.
Yeah, so much love to Kenny Beats, of course.
Much love to Kenny Beats.
Much love. A legend in the game.
Oh, yeah.
But I believe we made a video on The Alchemist. And that video on The Alchemist was very, very non-production based in nature, right? So it doesn't explain, what are the sampling techniques Al uses? What are the actual instruments he tends to gravitate towards? What are the vinyl records he tends to use the most, etc.? It wasn't based on the plugins he uses in Logic, if he uses Logic, or whatever, Ableton, or etc. It wasn't based on that. It was based on Al's journey from being a kid, in the Hooligans, etc., all the way up to his most recent projects, and just high-level commentary from there. And it interplayed some conceptual themes with his persona as such. He's called the Alchemist, right? So what parallels can you find with alchemy? What does alchemy mean? So it focused a lot on the conceptual side of it, as well as his journey. It didn't really focus on the production side, right? Now, Kenny, I think live streams quite often on Twitch. He does a couple of sessions, I don't know, a week, or someone can correct me. But I believe he stumbled upon the Alchemist video, and he liked it initially, but because it dragged on, in his eyes, because it didn't cover whatever needed to be said in his view, I guess what he wanted was a bit more production, and he felt like there were too many quotes being used in that sense. Like, you're using too, and it's difficult, right? In our videos we use a lot of quote boxes to sort of either portray lyrics on screen or talk about, interview snippets, from a musician being interviewed by a magazine, for example, or, it's just got random thoughts in these boxes. And I think Kenny felt they were being overused, and he just didn't like the layout of our videos, which is fine, which is absolutely valid to have, not a problem. And it was just really entertaining to see that he didn't like it, but the moral of the story is that there are definitely things he raised that I've already been thinking about, things like not stuffing the screen with too much information, not overusing quotes where they're not needed, etc., and things like that. He raised some valid points, and we all found it hilarious, and we found it nice that Kenny actually acknowledged our presence.
Yeah,
let's put it that way. That's the story, I guess.
So did you think originally that it was a wake-up call for yourself that you need to start tweaking the production process, or did you think that it just comes down to different tastes, like he just didn't like the video because it just wasn't his kind of thing,
I mean, I don't know what time it was when he recorded it, his live stream. Probably it was around very early in the morning, I think. When you're that early in the morning, when you're watching something that early in the morning, you're not looking to learn. Yeah, let's put it that way.
Okay.
You're probably not looking to learn. You're
Yeah,
probably
that's
looking to be you're probably looking to be entertained, right? Like,
yeah.
you want to be on TikTok or something. I don't know what people do nowadays, but you want to be on TikTok, right, in the morning, or just random videos of cats and stuff, right? You don't give three hoots about this random conceptual, right? You're not going to remember it in 10 minutes, let alone the next day, right? So I think Kenny at that point in time, whenever he was streaming, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if he was streaming in the morning, but I think he was looking for entertainment. That's the key. He was looking for entertainment, and he wasn't looking for knowledge. Now, I think I think Kenny's process really was, and because he's a producer, right, his main point that he'd gravitate to would naturally be, okay, what is the production base of The Alchemist? That's what he'd gravitate to. So I think he was watching that video, gradually waiting for me to drop production hints, and when it never showed up, he started getting more and more agitated. Yeah. Right? Because now it's like, oh, this guy is talking about one of my favorite producers that I look up to, and he's not talking about what I want him to talk about, and that's annoying me, because that's a wasted opportunity, right? Yeah. So I get his point of view. Yeah, I get his point of view. And look, it didn't change how I view the videos currently. I think the videos, we've gotten feedback from more than one person. I can listen to Kenny Beats all I like, yeah, but that's one person. We've had feedback from hundreds of people over the years, and I know what people like and what people don't like, yeah? Mm-hmm. Some people will just naturally not like our videos, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah, if you don't like an English guy talking about music for anywhere between, well, I think our shortest video is a couple of minutes to an hour 50. If you don't like an English guy talking about conceptual themes for that long, don't watch it. Yeah. Simple as. Yeah, so, I mean, it's not for everyone, but having said that, we try to cover things in a different variety. So we do have episodes where we talk about production technique, yeah? Mm-hmm. We do have episodes, not ultra deep, but we do mention them, yeah? So our videos are all varied. So if you watch one, it's not going to be similar to another one. They'll all be different. So, look, if you don't like it at all. But
fair play.
And feel free to feel that, but it'd be great to see what you'd like me to do. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And if people leave me comments or drop me an email, do something to reach me out, whether it's an Instagram DM or whatever, just let me know what you'd like to see. And we might in the future pipeline be able to give you that. And maybe more than you wants to see that. Maybe multiple people want to see what you're suggesting, right? Yeah. So, we're not closed. We're always evolving. We're always changing. But one thing I will say is, we stick by the vision. Yeah, we stick by the vision because the vision is what's going to propel us into the future and keep us separate from the other creators on there. Yeah? There's a difference between us and other people, and we need to maintain that. I'm not looking to copy or be like someone else. Yeah, there are a lot of great video content creators about music on the internet, on YouTube especially. As you've said, you've already got Volksgeist, you've got Polyphonic, Polyphonic and phenomenal animations, crafted with love, crafted with care. You've got Mike the Snare as well, who does really great Discog deep dives, and his reviews are just sensational. So there's loads of different people doing things in their own way, and they've all got something unique about them. Yeah, they all cover things in their own light, in their own way. And I'm not. Who am I to sit here and say, Polyphonic, you're using too much animation, it's distracting from the message of the video? No, it's you want to run that, and you want to watch our animations, you watch it. If you don't like animations and you want more detail, go to Regal State. Yeah. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like there's a difference in how people approach things. When I get in a BMW, I'm not looking to emulate a Kia.
That's a fire reference. That's good.
I'm not looking. If you don't like the BM and you think the repair costs are going to be too high for you, buy Kia. Yeah, it's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. We have our vision. We'll keep evolving. Yeah. So I will say that. Yeah. So what a video you see now may not be, and you can check this out yourself. Go watch our first episode on Tom Misch, and then go watch our latest episode, and look at the difference. Mm-hmm. That should tell you everything about evolution. Yeah.
That's a big thing I like seeing, like YouTubers, their first video compared to their newest video. That's always something that fascinates me, seeing how much they grow and evolve over time, and like get used to making their videos and their style and like evolve on top of it. So yeah, exactly what you're saying with evolution.
I mean, it fascinates you. It fascinates me. I haven't seen some of these older videos in so long. So when I watch them, I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's just something new. It's like a new video you've never seen before.
It's
You're like, oh,
exactly.
don't even
It's
talk about
literally
this.
that.
Yeah.
It's literally that. There are some videos I don't. Firstly, I have just a poor memory. Period. Yeah. So I don't remember what happened a week ago, let alone 2 years ago, nearly 3. So, it's a blessing to have had the privilege for people to watch that long, right? So, I think overall, in terms of minutes watched, we're over 1.8 million for such a small channel.
Yeah, that's
I think,
pretty good.
I think that means people have stuck around longer than 30 seconds per video, which means that people are at least giving the videos a chance, which is good to see.
College try.
A little college try, exactly.
That's good.
There you go.
So from the Kenny Beats situation, you made a apology video to Kenny Beats. Getting back on that for a little bit, do you know, in any way, shape, or form, has he responded or seen anything of that apology video?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know of as of this recording. I don't know.
Real crying shame.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Look, if it does reach him in the future, it'll reach him, and that's great.
Yeah,
but,
true.
I'm not worried about whether it reaches him or not.
Mm-hmm.
I felt I wanted to make that video simply because, look, I wanted to let you guys know, whoever's watching, look, we listen to Kenny, right?
Yeah.
We treat him with respect because he treats everybody else with respect. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit here and say what he said was right or what he said was wrong. I'm simply going to say, here are the criticisms he presented, and here is our thoughts on his criticisms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, we hope he watches. And Kenny, if you are listening to this podcast episode, we do hope you listen.
Oh boy, Kenny, if you were listening to this, oh my God.
If you're listening to this, you've
I will give you a hearty handshake.
You'll get a lot, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, Jake's gonna be over the moon.
I would be. That is fire.
Yeah.
All right. So you did say you're almost in 100 episodes. 100 episodes of this analytical, nice, to the point content. What if this might be a bit hard to answer, but it's like picking favorite children. What's your favorite episode that you've done?
Favorite episode that I've done? Ooh, that's a good question. I like a lot of the episodes. In terms of overall, okay, what is the metric here being used? Like, what do you want the favorite to be?
Let's
is it
say
just blanket favorite or?
Yeah, we'll do blanket favorite, like the type thing where the all the other workers on the video finish it, and you have the final thing. You sit down, you watch it, and you're like, "Damn, this is some fire. This is some real fire we got here."
It would probably be a tie-up between the blonde episode that I made. It would be a tie between the blonde episode I made, and it's a 3-way tie actually.
Okay.
The blonde one, the ex-military episode with Death Grips, with Jacob, and the Capital Steez video I wrote with Michael. Those 3 episodes are my favorites in different ways. Ex-military is a very deep detailed video. Capital Steez is a very emotional video, and the blonde video feels like a journey. And they're all written, as I said, in different styles completely. I wrote the blonde video, Jacob wrote the ex-military video, and Mike wrote the Capital Steez video. So you can see elements of different writing styles throughout all of them, and they all pull at different sides of your heart almost. Yeah.
Okay. So from having a favorite video, you have one of your most popular videos. I know that the Alchemist video is pretty high up there in popularity. Same thing with the MF Doom, and MF Doom seems to be a big thing. What do you think in your head makes those videos the most popular?
Well, if you want the simple answer, it's the algorithm.
Yeah, true.
I don't choose.
Touche. Yeah.
I don't choose. I don't choose what is popular. YouTube decides, right? So, well, the algorithm will simply say, from a pure logical perspective, it will say, okay, if I put this video here in this set section, do I get the most optimal metrics in terms of view time and click through rate, etc.
Yeah.
So it will think like that, right? That's what the algorithm will say. And then if it gets a positive initial A/B test, it will then progress with putting that video higher and higher up until it finds the right spot for it to grow, and it will keep it there, right? So that's why those videos are where they are. But in terms of if you wanted to give my qualitative reason as to why they're popular, it's because they're simply niche musicians or niche topics as such that are simply probably not covered too deeply by other people, I guess.
Yeah.
That's simply what it is. Right? There aren't too many videos on The Alchemist. There aren't too many videos on MF Doom. Right? And so for example, I think my most popular video is the Alter Egos one on MF Doom, right?
Yes.
That hasn't been covered in a single video by someone else as of when that was made, right? So people thought, hey, MF Doom, Alter Egos? He's had Alter Egos before? Well, if you didn't listen to him, you'd say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you did listen to him, you'd be like, Victor Vaughn and King Ghidorah. Okay, I'd like to learn more, or what this guy has to say about those Alter Egos, because I haven't heard someone talk about King Ghidorah or Victor Vaughn before, and what those mean in the context of his music. So let me click on that. So because these people know that about a beloved musician, but they haven't seen it talked about before, they'll be more likely to click it. Yeah.
So getting off the individual video topic and onto like kind of the full channel overview, I'm curious.
Yep.
I know that you're kind of a multi-channel thing, but I don't know if you've ever really shown your face. I know in the beginning, your first video, the intro kind of, I'm going to assume that's your face in the intro.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you go right back to some of the earlier episodes, you can see like a watercolor paint version of my face in there. And yes, that is me. That's what I vaguely look like. I don't look like a painting in real life. I'd like to. It depends. Henry VIII type, Victorian Baroque era, blah 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 blah. Yeah, but no. That is what I look like. But generally, I feel like there's no real reason to show my face. I think the ultimate aim is right. Stick to the vision. Yeah. In my head, that's my key, right? So stick to the vision. The vision is learn to. If you're an audience member watching one of the videos, go back to it. The aim is hopefully you learn something new. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it sticks in your head after you watch it. Something sticks in your head after you watch it. Yeah. Yeah. Do I need my face in the video for you to think that? Probably not. And considering the speed at which we go through a lot of the topics, my face will probably detract. Well, firstly, think about what our unique style is. It's detail, right? Anything to do with someone using their own real life face in it is used to entertain more than not, right? Yeah. It's used to either entertain or it's used to inform in an entertaining manner. That's the whole purpose, right? That's why you have people like presenters presenting stuff on different TV shows, or TV show hosts, etc. They're making it palatable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, Mike the Snare shows his face. Yeah. And he does it well, but Polyphonic doesn't. So is there a right or wrong way? No, not at all. But I feel like the format's fine as it is. So is there a reason to change it? Probably not, but who knows?
Yeah, that's kind of where my question was going. Do you ever feel in the future you have the need to show a face, or ever plan on making that a big thing, but you kind of touched on that, not really right yet?
Yeah, I mean, showing your face makes something more personable. Yes. Right? And now, if my aim was to say I want to make more personal videos, then yes, I would consider showing my face as a instrument in that. But that's not to say if someone making videos was to show their face, that entire channel suddenly becomes more personable. Mm-hmm. Not at all. If you show your face and you're a stiff idiot, you're not personable. Yeah, true. Let's put it that way. Do you know what I mean? So you have to use the tool in the right situation. And as of right now, I don't see, like, right now the flaws in the videos, are not stemming from their lack of personality, right? They've got other things that could be introduced, like, in my head, I think the videos could introduce, more relevant context animations, for example. So one piece might be, like a MIDI overlay.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? Like something showing you the drum pattern that's a bit more visual. But that would help. That would really help me. I would love to see that. Like, as a viewer, I would love to see that. I don't need your face to learn that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I know what you're talking about.
So, yeah, I think if there's a reason to in the future, and if I feel I need to, then yeah, sure, why not? Okay. But as of right now, there's no need. Yeah, as of right now.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Especially since you're going for such a would you consider your content educational?
Now this is interesting. Do you know what? This is interesting. You actually know. I've had thoughts on this. It's a lot of the things on YouTube fall under a spectrum, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They fall under a spectrum of one side. So the spectrum starts on education and then ends on entertainment. Some videos, on all videos, sit within that realm almost. Yeah. So you could consider a gaming how-to video educational because you're learning something about how that game works potentially. Yeah. So okay, a good example is Digital Foundry. Yeah. So Digital Foundry, for those who don't know, is a gaming YouTube channel, and actually they've been a part of Eurogamer for a long time. But what they do is they deconstruct the graphics behind games, to put it simply. They talk about the technology that underpins your favorite games, right? How it's rendered on screen, and why things look the way it does. Yeah. Now, that could be considered slightly entertaining, but it's mostly educational.
Yeah.
It's almost completely educational. But it's still about a wider topic that's considered entertainment. Yeah? So gaming as a whole is considered an entertainment industry. Yeah, video games.
Yeah.
They're an entertainment industry. In a similar vein to cinematography channels on YouTube. A lot of them cover lighting techniques. A lot of them cover lenses, microphone setups, etc. And, that's a part of the wider film industry, which is considered an entertainment industry, right? So I think overall, to answer the question, there's a spectrum. All videos fall under that spectrum. And where does Regal State sit in? It's a good question. It's definitely more on the education side than it is on the entertainment side. But that's not to say they're not entertaining at all. If you truly do want a straight chat about a musician, it can be entertaining. It's definitely not something you're gonna laugh. You're not gonna watch a Regal State episode and start laughing.
Yeah, true.
Let's put it that way. It's not comedy or something like that. But I tend to see that in a lot of other music content creators. Their videos tend to mostly be educational in nature anyway.
Yeah.
Because you think about the concept of a video essay. Your aim by the very nature of what you're doing is to educate.
Yeah, essay, true.
How you do it can vary, but if your core ethos is to educate, it will always revolve around that, and anything added on top can be entertainment if it's necessary, right? Some people have a really humorous way of making video essays, and that's great, but I'd say we lean more towards the educational side for sure.
Yeah, the funnies aren't really just your cup of tea,
Oh, I love comedy. I love comedy.
Yeah. In your videos though.
Yeah. It's. I don't think it would be too appropriate to make. I commend anyone who can make a comedic video about death grips.
Yeah.
You make me a comedy video about MC Ride, I'll watch it.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
That's not just like clickbait. That's not make me a video about MC Ride. That's not like a quick edit mashup sort of thing.
Like a meme video or something like that.
Yeah, like a meme video, like 5 seconds of MC Ride doing this or whatever. Yeah. Show me an actual video with substance that's comedic about MC Ride, and I'll commend you for that. So yeah.
Oh, here's something I'm interested. I like getting people's takes on this, different people's. Where do you think the value of a meme falls when it comes to music, especially since we're seeing the rise of TikTok music, where pretty much anything on there is a meme when it gets created, but then over time it just turns into like people just genuinely enjoying the music and being fans of that artist? Where do you think the meme is in the importance of creating like music and art and stuff like that?
So if you think about what a meme actually is, right? It's something that underpins basic human psychology. So let's take Drake for example. This is a classic. This is probably one of the first people to actually use memes to their advantage. Classic, right? So I think everything Drake has done so far has capitalized on something very specific that he's done. Whether that's the Hotline Bling video where he's doing his dance, right? Or I don't know, his general demeanor when he was considered soft in the Take Care era or whatever, or I don't know. So the significance of memes as such helps spread the psychology about a musician in a certain way. And that expands to their music naturally, right? Because a musician's job is to entertain via music. So the meme always links back to the musician. And the musician always links back to the music as such. So in essence, it's just another tool for a musician to use memes to market themselves and thereby market their music. I think that's how I see memes fitting in that wider pool. That's the significance of it. It's just another tool, in my opinion, for musicians to use. Yeah. It's put it this way. The world is slowly becoming a place where people fight for attention. And memes are a way to spread the underlying psychology about what they're doing very quickly to a rapid audience. And by very nature of that, you've got something that works brilliantly. So, I mean, look, if it works, it works. And I'm sure that there'll be other future tools like memes that come out that we don't know about yet. So it's just fascinating to see, I guess. Yeah.
Do you think, because you were talking about how people make music sometimes exclusively thinking, this is meme worthy, or this music video could become a meme. Do you find the way that like record labels, when they release new artists or something like that, they have plans to create TikTok music or like have a TikTok challenge for it? Do you think that's going to become played out since it's such a big thing in the market right now? Everyone is trying to make a TikTok song. They go in the studio specifically to make a TikTok song. Do you find that's going to be, somewhat of a oversaturated genre in the coming months?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Old Town Road, did it start off as a TikTok song?
I believe it did, yeah.
Did it? I think the original went viral on Reddit firstly, didn't it?
I think that TikTok was a big part of it, though. I think you're onto something there.
Was it big? Okay, fine. So it growing on Reddit was a big part of TikTok. So fine. Its popularity was because of TikTok. Now, Old Town Road is just a catchy song to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, even without TikTok, it would have probably exploded.
Yeah, true.
So, I mean, yes and no to your question. People will target something that tries to. So let's put it this way, yeah. With TikTok, there's a visual element to it. It's not just audio.
True.
So the song has to have a component that has a visual component, and it more often than not is a dance or something, right? I guess it can be, or it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
But if, for example, it sometimes can be, and so I think is it wrong for people to target specific parts of their song to use a visual component like that? Maybe not. I mean, I don't know. It's a really good question. You know what? I treat it as a gamble. Yeah. I'd say anyone who's doing that and targeting that is gambling on, whether it will succeed or not. And they don't know for sure whether it will, because again, you're pretending to predict. So not even pretending, sorry. You're aiming to predict whether you're aiming to predict whether the psychology that you're trying to portray will be adopted by tons of people in a short space of time.
Yeah.
That's essentially what you're doing with memifying, or aiming to have certain parts of your song grow through memes.
Yeah.
So it's like a company buying a ton of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Tesla. Right? So it's either going to go up or down, or something is going to happen. Like you're basically predicting with the unknowns. So is it wrong? Who am I to say what's wrong and right?
Yeah, true.
Music, to begin with, is a subjective industry, and I'm sure it's going to keep evolving in the future.
You really never know what you're going to get when you film a podcast. We talked about the philosophy of memes and art, and now we're talking about TikTok and how that equates to like deep artistic integrity. Like it's just fascinating to me just hearing people just give their ideas, and I love that kind of shit where people have their own ideas about the future of stuff. Like that stuff's just so cool.
Everyone's got their own opinion. Yeah. Everyone's got some sort of thought process on where this is going to go, where that's going to go. The reality is, no one knows where things are going to go.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like a river. It's like a river that only fate probably knows
true.
where it's going to go. We're all just in it for the ride, and we're all just going to be dragged along whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Right. It's don't hate the game, sort of thing. It's you're in it now.
Yeah.
You're in the game.
That's
right.
a very good point.
It's you know what? I think I love it. I love how I can make a video on the topic, and someone else can make a video on the topic, and we talk about two completely different things about that same topic, and that would start off two different conversations about the same topic. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So if, again, I'm just grateful that people listen to what I have to say.
Yeah.
Just really grateful. Yeah, because it's all opinion at the end of the day, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Especially with music, one of the most subjective art pieces in history.
Oh yeah, and you don't have to like what I say.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
Yeah.
No, it's I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. You don't have to like what I say. But listen, if it makes you think in an alternate way, hey, that's great. Mm-hmm. Like, and if it makes me, if your rebuttal to whatever I have to say makes me think in a different way, that's great too. We're all in this together.
Yeah,
all of us.
All right, well, with your subjectivity in music and your big persona, let's break down the big arc of Regal State, and let's get down to you. What are some of your personal favorite musicians?
Ooh.
Boom, big question. Bagat.
So, if I was to start off at the beginning, I got into music a long time ago I used to live in America as a kid. Yeah.
Connecticut, right?
That's it.
Boom.
Yeah, and Connecticut and Boston.
Hey,
Connecticut and Boston as a kid. 4 years in Boston, 2 years in Connecticut. Those 2 years in Connecticut were amazing, and those 4 years in Boston again amazing.
Yeah.
But Connecticut especially because I was a bit older then. I was close to 4th grade or just before there. When I moved to London.
Yeah.
In 2005. But anyways, we were in Connecticut and there was a 1-800 video. One of those commercial TV channels.
Oh, absolutely,
back then.
yeah.
Right, it's just literally like they're just presenting you goods that you can dial this number and get the item, right?
Mm-hmm.
How times have changed. Now now people watch their favorite YouTuber and then pick Prime Delivery or something.
Yeah, literally.
Times have changed, right? So times have changed, and it's gotten a lot into the mix, right? It's gotten a lot into the mix because it's now more confusing than ever. Because back then, you didn't know what you were getting into. It was sort of like a gamble. Mm-hmm. Yeah? You were being sold a dream by whoever was presenting on that TV show. Yeah. Right? Whereas now, it's not that you're being sold a dream. You're being sold 1,500 dreams. And you don't quite know who to believe. Because all it takes is one negative review of something for you to then question all the other positive reviews.
Yeah, because you're getting so much thrown at you at once. It's just crazy, the oversaturation and stuff like that. Not to go off on a different tangent, but Bo Burnham released the Inside special, and the song The Internet perfectly encapsulated everything and anything all of the time. The Internet.
Yeah, exactly. And I think to answer your question, I started off with guitar, and guitar was basically my entry point into music as a whole. Yeah. Before then, I didn't really care. So how does that link to the 1-800 commercial? So we were in Connecticut. I saw that 1-800 commercial. I asked my parents, "Hey, I would really love that item that I just saw." So we dialed 1-800. We got one of them delivered, and it was like a mini guitar with like a CD pack, just to get started.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I was playing guitar just as a hobby, and I gave up when I moved to London or whatever. So I had a guitar, but never pursued it properly.
Mm-hmm.
I did graded exams, but never really cared. I wasn't really enjoying it back then. Then a couple of years later, I learned, how how is music produced? I think I was just browsing Reddit and I was thinking, how is music produced? What is MIDI? What is a DAW? What are all these things? And I was like, oh, this is how beats are made. Yeah. Oh, this is how sampling is done. And a lot of the early beats I used to produce used to actually be like a mic'd up guitar, an electric guitar, mic'd up electric guitar, chopped up. Right, so I'd record myself playing guitar, I'd chop it up in something like Audacity, and just try and make a guitar beat from it. And this was well before like people like Tom Misch blew up. I was onto like guitar beats and that jazz style of guitar a long time before people started to really care about adding other instruments into hip hop beats as such. So that was really the beginning of the musical arc, I'd say. That ever since then, like later down the line, when I had a renewed interest in guitar, and I actually cared about oh, music can be like this. There are scales that you need to practice. There's the circle of fifths, and all of those other things that make up how a song is constructed. That's when I really got started with music as a whole. And I had a shower thought once upon a time where I was like, hey, why don't I just also make commentary about music because I like it so much? Right? So I thought, okay, who's my favorite musicians? And that's exactly how I've gone completely off topic on your question here, but it's all relevant. The start of the very first episode kicks off with my favorite musicians. So the Tom Misch video starts off with some of my favorite musicians of all time. So they are, in no particular order. There are other musicians definitely. I can't name my favorites. This you needed to hear this whole story to understand. So my favorites are B.B. King. Yeah, legendary. One of the forefathers of blues guitar, or blues in general. Yeah, you've got Carlos Santana, who is one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Again, just similar to B.B. King, and simply because I feel like Carlos Santana was a lot of things to a lot of people. He was a big thing to the Latin community, but he was also a big thing to the American community. He was able to bridge that gap, and another favorite of mine is Eric Clapton, another phenomenal. In fact, one of J. Cole's favorite songs is "Tears in Heaven" by Eric Clapton. A lot of people don't know that, but there's that, and there's also Prince. I really, really look up to Prince a lot. I think of Prince all the time. All the time. Prince was something beyond most people. I think in time people will appreciate what he did. Yeah. But he was ahead of the curve when it came to a lot of things. He was a musician in the truest sense. Yeah. He was a man who could recompose an entire song from every instrument and understand where it harmonically sits.
Yeah, I've heard stories about that. That's crazy. Seeing it, like hearing about shit like that, where he can like, with so many instruments, just walk in and recreate it with that. That's always incredibly. People are so talented.
I think that word talent, it interests me. I think people confuse talent and skill and persistence, because I just think talent comes from skill and persistence. Yeah, built up skill and persistence. If someone is skilled enough or has their technique nailed down, I think people confuse sometimes talent with skill and technique that's magically honed. Yeah, I think to an extent you can suddenly have an affinity for something. Like if you're magically good at shooting 3-pointers, right, you've probably got the reflexes to adjust for that by the nature of not luck but coincidence and such. Yeah. But if you don't adjust and train and practice and do all those other things that need to be done persistently, you're not going to be. No one's going to call you talented. Do you see what I mean? The odd thing is you're just going to be known as the kid that shoots 3-pointers, right? But if you make it to the big leagues, if you make it to the NBA, yeah, they might say, "Oh, he's a talented kid. He's really like in the drafts, right? In the draft picks, like, oh, he's talented." Yeah. They'll start using that phrase about you when you've used the persistence with your affinity. Sorry for that interjection.
No. Yeah, interject away.
Yeah, talent's interesting. That word is interesting for sure.
Okay. So we've heard a lot about your favorite musicians. Is it too much to ask if I can get your favorite album of all time? What's the album you're in a room and you're like, God damn, this is the only record alive. I need to listen to this album on record. What is it?
There's two. If I'm allowed to say.
Yeah.
It's Supernatural by Carlos Santana.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Shaman by Carlos Santana.
Oh.
I'd probably say Supernatural by Carlos Santana. That's my favorite album probably of all time.
Why?
And the reason is my dad would put that album on. So this is back in the day where you had to put CDs in cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't any Spotify back then, right? You couldn't have a playlist of infinite things, right? You had to literally put in your, I think it was even cassette, not cassette. I'm not that old, but you could put in CDs, right, in your car, and it would only play that CD.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think on a lot of journeys, my dad would only have a CD of like Carlos Santana or something,
mm-hmm.
and that CD he'd use a lot, the Supernatural album. And I would throughout, and in America's a big place, yeah,
yeah, pretty big.
So you'd be driving a lot. I'd be driving a lot as a kid, so I would look out the window and I'd have Supernatural playing on all the time. So even now when I feel nostalgic, and I drive now, I drive,
yeah,
as I said, and so when I put that album on, it just hits me like a truck almost, because a lot of my childhood, similar to Frank Ocean actually, and Frank mentions that a lot of his childhood was spent in a car,
Yeah.
And that's why he actually likes cars so much. That's why the cover of Nostalgia Ultra, for example, is
The
a
car. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is amazing. Like it's amazing to think that American kids spend a lot of their lives within a vehicle.
Yeah.
But it's Supernatural. I implore anyone who's listening, if they haven't already, listen to Supernatural by Carlos Santana. That is, I think it won. This was back when, I don't know if the Grammys were ever pure, but it won a ridiculous amount of Grammys for when it was, I think 1999 it came out in. It won everything.
Really?
Or close to everything, or something like that. But it was just so complete. People consider it to be one of the more... Carlos Santana was a big guitarist in the 70s and 80s. So when he released this in 1999, people thought, hey, he's now gone a bit commercial.
Yeah.
But it was actually it was commercial, but it was also well done.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like a Kendrick album to me. But yeah, Supernatural.
You know what else is supernatural, Raul?
Go on.
How well this podcast went. Thank you for stopping by and doing it.
It's I feel like there's a lot more to be said about music, right?
Yeah.
We could have this podcast. We could have this podcast for hours, and there wouldn't be a conclusion. I think I just want to say, really, before we close out, to give a big thank you to anyone who watches Regal State. Yeah, anyone's out there and they see one of our videos, and they decide to watch it. That's already a big plus, a big win in my eyes for me. If I can make you, the viewer, think differently about something that you didn't know about or you did already know about, then I've accomplished what I needed to. I don't need anything more than that.
You've done your job
to be fulfilled.
Yeah,
I've done my job. So thank you to anyone who feels like our perspective has helped you in a way. It means a lot from the bottom of my heart, for sure.
Yeah, and anyone who doesn't watch the content, all the links to Regal State will be in the description, the YouTube, the Instagram, anywhere you could find him. Go watch the content. He makes some really good video essays. Him and his group of goons making some epic stuff.
Absolutely. Shout out to, again, all the people that have helped.
Yeah, shout out.
Gravelstone, Ryan, Mike, Jacob.
Fuck yeah.
All of these guys. Give them love.
Shout out to all of them. Regal State, links will be in the description. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's the episode. The 24th episode of the Big Fish Podcast. But don't fret, since it's over, but it is the 24th. That means that there are 23 other episodes you can go back and check out. It's on YouTube, major streaming services, what have you. All you have to do, look up the Big Fish Podcast of the service of your choice. But, yeah, that's about it. As long as you remember to keep your thumbnails stylized, then you're all set. Thank you for watching. I do really appreciate it. And have a pleasant day.